guard from West Texas State in his 6th year, 6'1", Maurice Cheeks. The other guard, 6'3", from Southwest Louisiana in his 4th year, Andrew Toney. And the coach of the Sixers, Billy Cunningham, assisted by Jack McMahon and Matty Gukas, trainer Al Domenico. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your San Antonio Spurs. From Notre Dame, in his 1st year, 6'2" guard, number 4, John Paxson. From MacArthur High School here in San Antonio and Purdue University, a 6'5" guard, Keith Edmondson. In his 1st year from BYU, 6'10" forward, number 11, Fred Roberts. Out of St. John's, in his 1st year, 6'3", number 12, Kevin Williams. In his 6th season from Bradley, 6'7" guard, number 21, Roger Fegley. 2nd year, 6'11", Mark McNamara. From Nevada, Reno, in his 4th season, 6'10" forward, number 42, E.J. Edgar Jones. Starting lineup. And a forward from Duke in his 3rd season, 6'8", number 20, Gene Banks. The other forward from Auburn in his 6th year, 6'7", Mike Mitchell. At center, 7'2", from Jacksonville, number 53, the 8-train, Artis Gilmore. At the guards from the University of Texas in his 4th year, 6'3", 00, Johnny Moore. Captain of the Spurs, 4-time leading scorer in the NBA, the Iceman, George Gervin. Coach of the Spurs, Mo Malone, assisted by Alan Presto, trainer John Anderson.
They know how to have a good time down in San Antonio. Before the night is done, you're going to see some of these folks jumping and jiving for sure. We've got 2 ball clubs here that enjoy running and gunning. Spurs at 116.8, Philadelphia 108.4, and your 2 officials, Tommy Wood and Ken Maurer, as they get set to work this ball game here tonight. So we're set to go. Eddie Doucette, Steve Jones, and our matchups with the Dr. J, Gene Banks, Ivoroni, and Mitchell, although I'm sure they'll be flopped around on that. Ivoroni will be over on Banks, and Mitchell will, or Irving will help out on Gene occasionally. Malone against Gilmore. Cheeks will go against Gene Moore, and Toney will go against George Gervin. The way the matchup should go here tonight. So we're set. Mo Malone averaging 23-3, Dr. J 22-3, Andrew Toney at 18-3. Mo Cheeks at 13 and Ivoroni at 4-6. Gervin at 25-1, 18-2 for Gene Banks. Mitchell at 17-3. We'll give you the rest. Artis Gilmore at 16-8. Johnny Moore at 11-6 for San Antonio. On top, you've got Moore. Mitchell. His shooting has been off, and the 76ers. And immediately the outlet. That's the one thing they have been short on early in the season. They have had countless opportunities to outlet, but the pass hasn't been there. So they're looking to go to it early here tonight.
Well, whenever you get that quick jump shot from the perimeter, you're going to get a chance to run. And Mitchell put that one up quickly and surprised his teammates, and they got the ball out there. Ivoroni for an easy 2. Gilmore inside.
Left-handed shooting, Gilmore deflected away, and here comes Andrew Toney. He dribbles with his head up, you young people. Down the lane, knocked away. Gervin. George Gervin, easy, cool, never gets shook. He's 6'8", 190 pounds, 8-year man, Eastern Michigan. On top, there he is. And Malone has it. 6'10", 265 from Petersburg High School. One of 3 that went directly from high school to the pro ranks. Save on the far side. Toney to Dr. J. That's Mo Cheeks. He plays with an eye in the middle of his head so he can see everything developing. He's one of the great ones. Toney on a screen by Malone. And Gene Banks with a rebound. He's good for about 8 a game. Played at Duke, number 2 pick, Johnny Moore from the University of Texas. Backdoor. Block. Malone got a piece of it. Gilmore with that left-hand hook. And Ivoroni with a rebound and a loose ball foul, I believe, on Gene Banks.
Not a good foul on Gene Banks that time. Ivoroni had the good inside position, and you listen. Billy Cunningham called a play, a reverse it and triple it. We'll see what that means for the Philadelphia 76ers, but both teams will try to run. Both teams like to pace quick, so we'll see a lot of open court action tonight.
2-zip Philadelphia. Early go here at the Hemisphere in San Antonio. Andrew Toney.
It appears that they're going to attack the defensive George Gervin as Toney has put 2 up already from the outside. 1 for 2 for Toney, 2 points here, 4-0 Philadelphia.
Andrew Toney. That's Gervin. He's got any number of shots. Probably a bigger shot selection than anyone in the game. Toney in the middle. Cheeks can't hang on. Fighting to save it is Johnny Moore. And out of bounds he goes with the ball.
Gervin made a good move inside, but just a little bit too far with his body. He couldn't make the adjustment. Missed a little baby layup.
Cheeks deflected coming down the lane. Inside defense of San Antonio holding steady. Moore, Gervin. 7 years here in San Antonio. He's won 4 scoring titles. Not bad work for 7 years. Played in the ABA for a couple years.
Delay of game. Gervin came in, caught the ball after he made the layup, and then held on to it so he could get back defensively. Irving.
The doctor. He averaged 21-4 last year. He's made 7 All-Star teams since he's been in the NBA. 7 consecutive years. Played in the ABA for a few years and won a few scoring titles. 2 MVPs and 3 scoring titles there.
Tough shot for Gene Banks underneath. They try to offensive rebound. Mitchell finally controls it. Another tough try, and he gets it to go in.
That's a man they've got to get into the flow. He's not played well. At least his numbers are not all that great. Mitchell shooting only 43% early here this season. Last year, he was 51%, and his 50% career from the floor. Illegal defense call against San Antonio. You get one, the next one you shoot the technical. Mo McCone, the 40-year-old coach of the Spurs, on the other side, very upset by the call. As they inbound Ivoroni to Irving. Toney backdoor, shovel it off, and that's Malone. Malone has had a problem holding onto the ball here early, Steve. He's dropped a lot of balls, and he does not quite seem to have the timing yet, but that'll come for sure.
Well, I think that time he was looking for Toney to put that ball up, but he got ready to handle that one, dropped it in real nice as Johnny Moore comes right over the top of Mo Cheeks.
San Antonio 6, Philadelphia 8. A 2-point Philadelphia lead, and Toney is fouled inside.
Now you see that Philadelphia is going to attack George Gervin at the defensive end. So that means Gervin is really going to have to come back at the offensive end and outscore Andrew Toney. Toney really one of the very tough guards to handle for anyone, and particularly tough for Gervin, who does not have the reputation of being a great defender.
He's a 76% career free throw shooter. Last year he shot 79%. Also their best 3-point shooter. 18.3 average, you see. Andrew Toney. He graduated from college in 3.5 years. In fact, he missed his last basketball game so he could go to his graduation ceremony. He said, hey, priorities. And that was more important than basketball. Gervin. What a beautiful slice. Coming left, going right in deep on the right-hand bank hook by George Gervin.
Well, there's your matchup. Toney and Gervin.
Gilmore. Artis Gilmore with a rebound. Give it to Johnny Moore. Mike Mitchell played at Auburn. And block out by Dr. J. Julius Irving. What a great pro he has been. And a tremendous role model for young people. Mitchell ahead to Banks. And you can see the early flow here of both teams trying to run. That time, Gilmore coming down with the left hand, exposing the ball and still making it. He shoots it from the right side.
Well, he showed the ball, but he also had his body in a position where Malone could really not get you the basketball. He scores, it's a 10-10 tie, and the pace is quick. Cheeks down the middle and it's stripped. Johnny Moore should have an easy one.
And a lead ahead, and he runs away from it, goes back, blocked by Ivoroni. And out of bounds, it'll go to San Antonio. A nice lob lead feed, but Moore could not hang on and blocked by Ivoroni.
Well, Johnny Moore had trouble hanging on, and at that moment, Ivoroni realized he could make a block, so he turned up the boost a little bit, got there, knocked it out of bounds. Clint Richardson out of the ball game. Clint Richardson in the ball game, Maurice Cheeks out.
Clint Richardson, outstanding defensive player who really shone during the playoffs against Milwaukee last year. And as Gervin tries to get into a position to do one of two things, score or dish it off, Richardson with a foul.
Richardson reached in, and of course there's always a fear that Gervin's going to get cooking from the outside, and if he's starting to hit that jump shot, then it makes him doubly tough to guard. We'll see how Richardson handles that assignment. Gervin on the drive.
He's got all the shots, and there's another one, but he didn't get this one to go. Irving, cross-court, Richardson.
That's a great outlet.
Slides ahead of Banks. Banks looking to get back to cover. Now, both these teams, as we've mentioned, want to run. And Philadelphia has not been getting their running game in motion, even though they've been playing good defense inside. They've had as many as 19 block shots twice, but they're not triggering the outlet pass. Look for them to do that tonight.
Well, I think the way you beat Philadelphia is to try to pack it in, make them shoot the ball from the outside, and then run on them. Gilmore passes the follow-up over the top of that. Mike Mitchell missed.
And, of course, Philadelphia thought that Artis had shoved underneath. How could he get such easy position? But remember, he is 7'2". Malone 6'10 and a half.
They had the good position that time. Irving couldn't control it as he wanted to. Thought he got pushed a little bit, but that should have been an easy two for Dr. J.
They'll be concerned, Philadelphia will, and not allowing Johnny Moore to get where he wants to go so he can direct the offense. They try and get him into a half-court game if they can, channel him away so that he does not get that ball on the open floor and he can really get things moving. Now we've got another call over here.
Well, you always wonder how these big guys can fall so hard. Look at Malone as he gets a little bump from Gervin, who's at least 100 pounds lighter.
All right, we have a timeout, and we also have a 12-12 tie. 6:07 to play in the first period. We're coming right back.
Concept in music entertainment. Vocal minus tracks. Now you can sing to the same music backgrounds. Professionals pay thousands of dollars for it. And you can use your minus tracks on any cassette player. Each of these hit songs.
Anything happening?
I don't know. Somebody stole my copy of the Dallas Morning News. Okay, I can see you're innocent. I'll drop the charges if you promise to go straight.
Really?
Yeah, to my apartment.
Chief, I can't thank you enough. We'll spend our entire honeymoon there.
You mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you about my new husband, Craig.
Craig James. Football star.
Yes, I finally got what every girl comes to SMU for. My MRS degree.
Technical foul. Rebounds, there you see, Spurs 9, Philadelphia 7. Really not a surprise. San Antonio always has been one of the better rebounding teams. Coming into this game here tonight, Spurs rebounding on an average of a little over 45 a game, while Philadelphia a little over 44 a game. There he is. What a hook and ladder he is. The big man in the middle, Moses Malone. So they give it back now to San Antonio with a full-blown 24-second clock. Johnny Moore. Weak side give, now strong. Gervin. Gervin with 6. The Spurs by a pair.
Now they've switched up defensively. Johnny Moore guarding Andrew Toney. Clint Richardson being guarded by George Gervin. Toney, the outside.
One thing that they're concerned about on the Philadelphia side is Andrew Toney having to work especially hard at both ends of the floor. That's why they made the switch. With him playing Gervin the way he was before, there was a problem and a concern for him getting in foul trouble. They leave Moore alone, and he hits a two-pointer, not a three-pointer. Not a three-pointer. So Johnny Moore hits the two-pointer. Incidentally, the Spurs a 31% three-point shooting team. Philadelphia a 38%, which is considered very good from that long range. So now you see Moore on Toney. Irving wide open. As Gilmore sagging back inside, they rub the man off a pick, and Irving got a beautiful open jumper from the left baseline. 16-16. Tied again. Toney and Moore. Gervin now played by Clint Richardson, and Artis Gilmore on top now. He'll settle down. Give it over on to Gene Banks' side. Down to Gervin on the post-up. 6'8". Look at how he changed up. And gets it back and misses it, follows it up with a tip. 3 shots by Gervin. One problem that the Spurs had during the playoffs, Steve, was that Gervin was giving up shots. This year, Mo McCone said, I want him to take more shots. Kicked out of bounds by Andrew Toney as he tried to cross it over in the crowd.
Well, I think if they wanted to get a little bit more balance for Gilmore and Mitchell and Johnny Moore all getting offensive tries here early in the season, they want to get their big money man, Gervin, off the track, try to win some ball games. And I think McComb is feeling that pressure and maybe looking to Gervin to carry the weight a little bit more.
Andrew Toney will get his first in Philadelphia, their second foul here in the first period.
Well, the arm is out. You can see hand checking very evident right there. Johnny Moore tried to get the penetration, so he picks up his first foul. Bobby Jones slips into the ball game. He'll be guarding Gene Banks.
The best sixth man in basketball. That's the award he received last year in the NBA. He's been that kind of a player all his career. Mitchell on the post up, Ivoroni on the foul. So now your front line has Jones, he's 6'9", Ivoroni, who's 6'10 plus, there's Bobby Jones, and Mo Malone, who's 6'10 plus. Bobby Jones, the man we talked about. That's a special quality you have to be a good sixth man. I think that Havlicek had it. Junior Bridgman's got it in Milwaukee. Again, of course, Bobby Jones. And one that you might want to think about, you young guys out there who may be a little concerned about making the starting five in your team. When Julius Erving was in high school, he was a sixth man because he was the one man that the coach felt could contribute off the bench without being concerned about having to start all the time. And that takes a special quality. Keep that in mind as you try out for your clubs wherever you may be around the country. 19-16 now, the Spurs with a 3-point lead over Philadelphia. Nice drive by Clint Richardson. Nice player.
Well, an excellent movement without the ball for Richardson, burning Gervin again, so Gervin's going to have to pay attention to the cutters coming in.
Moore, that's George Gervin. Nobody's switching out. They help out. Now they go back out to Banks. Rainbow with 8 seconds on the clock, and Malone with a rebound. Number 1 rebound in the league. Saved by Gene Banks as he comes over our side. Into the hands of Moore, Mitchell. And they're taking the ball to the hole, which may surprise some, against that big front line, anchored by Moses Malone.
Well, both teams are not stopping the initial penetration, the player with the basketball. This time, Tony comes down one-on-one in his own, pops from the outside. So, again, this game looks like it's going to be one of offense and who outscores the other team.
Ivoroni made that happen with a great screen, freeing Andrew Toney. And Gervin with a good start here. The Iceman with 10. San Antonio 23-20. It's always a hot contest when you get these two clubs together. They played twice last year. They split. Bobby Jones. Toney. There's Malone. Mo Malone, who rode the parade in Philadelphia to accept the trophy and get all the applause, and then 15 minutes later was on a plane back home with a hot dog in his hand. He's just a good old guy. 23-22 score. Gervin.
Who told me that?
Tony on top, played by Johnny Moore. Cut by Seattle, came down here, actually dealt down here, cut by this club. Sat out of here, made the club, and he's a key man. On the cut inside, Tony over Gilmore, missing it Moore with Banks on the right. Comes up with a short arm.
Well, that was great 3-on-1 penetration. Banks got a little bit too close to Bobby Jones, couldn't control it, and Johnny Moore comes up with the save. They got a new 24, and they'll set up.
And Jones, one of the better defensive players you'll see in the league. On top of Gervin, but George Gervin at 6'8", a guy with a turn-in right-hand hook. He's got 12. Gervin used to be a forward. But Doug Moe converted him to a guard when James Silas, back in the old days here, came down with a knee injury, and he moved him back to a guard. He's been there ever since. Richardson. Gilmore with a follow tap. Or Malone with a follow tap, and Gilmore with a rebound. Moore. Bobby Jones with board position. Give it to Tony. Oh, boy. Offensive foul call. Mitchell planted, Tony rolled him over. And with 1:22 to play here in the first period, we've got a timeout call. It's the San Antonio Spurs, 25. And the Philadelphia 76ers, 22. Oh, this is going to be a good one before it's over. I hope you'll stay with us. The State. There's Cheeks. They got a very small guard line with Franklin Edwards 6 feet and Mo Cheeks 6'1". Over Roberts. Banker.
Throw it on it. There you go.
William. And that's where he is at his best. He can really get upstairs, and in a crowd, he can be very tough. Still does not know the nuances of the game at the professional level, but he will learn. They like what he has to offer, and he has a good opportunity at Philadelphia. In time, Gervin. Julius Erving. Now they get to run. He's in the middle on the break. Trailers on both sides, and hammered on the way down the boulevard by Kevin Williams.
Well, Kevin Williams knew he was in trouble, and he was going to try to get to the basketball before Irving could get it up and take it over the top. Philadelphia, after getting that long outlet on the missed shot by George Gervin, Irving just pressuring the defense and gets the foul. He'll go to the line.
So Julius Erving is at the line. 6'6", 210, 13-year man. Last year, he averaged 21.4. This year, he's number 18 in the league at 21.5. 8th NBA year, MVP in the 80-81 season when he averaged 24.6 and 8 rebounds a game. He's something else. That's Kevin Williams. Played by Franklin Edwards. Give it to George Gervin. Edgar Jones on top. And knocked away and out of bounds.
Cunningham thought he was going to get that ball back, went off of what he thought was the Spurs' leg. Spurs get it back. They put the ball up from the outside. They get a call inside.
Mark McNamara gets the call. A foul on Mark McNamara. That's his first for the Spurs. It's 2. Both teams now have 2 team fouls. Philadelphia bringing it up, goes to their half-court offense. Cheeks trying to get inside to Clement Johnson, and McNamara reaching around the pole that time, caught on the foul.
Well, he had good position. That was going to be a tough pass for him to handle. He was trying to hold McNamara off. Unfortunately, he got bailed out by the foul, so McNamara picks up 2 fouls in a row, 3rd team on the San Antonio Spurs.
Cheeks set up their offense. Franklin comes back to the near side. Irving to Cheeks. Clement Johnson sets the screen, asks for it, and gets it down deep. And another foul on McNamara. So Mark McNamara with 3 quick fouls. And the young man that has a house full of snakes for a hobby is in a house full of trouble right now.
Yeah, some boa is strangling him right now. Got a striped shirt on.
35-32. Franklin Edwards. Give it to the doctor. On Fred Roberts, the kid from BYU.
Oh,
foul, and he'll go to the line. And here they come, and this is where they're so tough. And this is frankly where San Antonio has got a problem, Steve. They have 6 new faces on this team. This is a young bench. It is not an experienced bench, and they're making mistakes right now, and of course they've yielded the lead.
Well, I mean, no shame to Fred Roberts. Irving has made those sorts of shots throughout his career. I think what is the problem for them is familiarity to the rest of the NBA, and a lot of these are young players, and they don't know what to do against a player of caliber of a Dr. J. Irving completes the 3-point play.
From the University of Massachusetts, graduated in '72, actually was the #1 pick of the Milwaukee Bucks, but he went to the ABA, and of course, then the deal was made for Irving coming into the NBA to go to Philadelphia. Been there all his NBA career. Mike Mitchell. Well, he jammed that one down hard, and Sam Williams trying to defend on him coming inside is slightly shaken up. Watch here.
Well, one of the few good post-up positions that they've gotten from Mike Mitchell. He powered his way in. He has a chance for a 3-point play. You'll see the help is there a little bit too late. Sam Williams gets a piece of the ball and also a piece of Mike Mitchell, who has a chance for 3.
Mike Mitchell at the line. 75% career shooter, 76% last year. And he makes it good. Now 38-35 lead for the Spurs. Sam Williams. Edwards. Clement Johnson. Edwards. At 9 seconds when he shot at Gilmore in the game again. Kevin Williams. Clement Johnson gave him a brush. Kevin Williams. 40-35. Well, he's going to fit in very well here in San Antonio.
That's a shot that the other guards have to make. Cheeks, Franklin Edwards, and Clint Richardson all are going to have to knock that shot down. Spurs quickly to the offensive end. Gervin with the rebound.
Woo! Little backhand reverse with a whole lot of English on it. All right. It's 7:44 on the clock, and we've got a San Antonio lead with the Spurs 42, Philadelphia 35. We're at the Hemisphere in San Antonio, and these folks are working up an appetite for that big Thanksgiving Day turkey. We'll be back.
Friday, Night Flight takes in the music of Steve Miller and announces the prize winners of Cinemagic's Film and Video Festival, all on Night Flight at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on USA Friday.
When I broke that for you, 7 points scored on errors. Philadelphia taking advantage of the San Antonio youth, while the Spurs have only scored 1 point on Philadelphia errors. And the difference in the ball game right now, 42-35, 7 points. The Spurs, however, are on top on that end, so they might have had a better advantage had it not been for some of their mistakes. Mitchell. Well, good cut. He had an isolation one-on-one. The double team got there a little late and not in time to help on the hoop.
That's a strong drive by Mike Mitchell, and they'll look for him to do more of that. They're opening up the middle and looking for that penetration. Clem Johnson.
You saw him in Portland for a year, Steve. Has he improved his game much?
Oh, he certainly has. The thing that I think Clem is always known is what his game has been, and he's worked at it more and more every year, and he's turned out to be a very dependable backup for a player like Malone, giving him a good rest tonight. Both of them have ankle problems. Malone needs more rest because he plays the most minutes.
Florida A&M's where Clement Johnson came from. Mike Mitchell, he's cooking pretty good tonight. Mitchell with a total of 12. Gervin already with 19. They've been the story so far for San Antonio. It's a 46-37 Spurs lead, biggest of the game. The Doctor with a turn-in steam shovel. And it didn't quite work the way he wanted it to. Had to scoop it up and in.
His imagination got away from him that time. He's thinking about drawing a three-point play and also bringing the crowd to its feet and didn't get it up off the glass.
Give it to the big man, Artis Gilmore.
Tough shot. He had to bring it back down when he turned around, and that's when they lose it. But they control it.
He's so strong, he still manages to get it up. Now Malone will come back in. Interesting thing about this particular game is that one coach doesn't try to counter the other coach's strategy with a different style of game. They both get it done by running, and they're both going at each other with what they hope to be their running game, which will get them the result they want to win. Sometimes you'll see a coach try and counter it by slowing it down, but neither of these two coaches, they're going to just go and run as long as they can. Keith Edmondson played at Purdue, drafted by Atlanta, came over here during the exhibition season, and he has been a nice addition. And their youth blends in. They'll have a decent ball club. Fred Roberts at 6'11", trying to play Malone inside, and Malone couldn't hang on to the ball.
Well, the thing that they like about Edmondson is he's an offensive player, as George Gervin is. So when they take Gervin out, they don't lose the offensive punch that Gervin gives them. Edmondson can score bunches as well.
They've got John Paxson, their #1 draft choice, on the bench, so their guard line depth and time will improve as they get more experience.
Irvin got a piece of that basketball. Tony rebounded. He got bumped out of bounds. He wanted the official to give him a call, but there's no longer a force-out rule, so they turn it over underneath their own basket. Keith Edmondson will trigger it.
Good call by the officials. Johnny Moore. Moses Malone looks to outlet. All the receivers are covered in the stop and go. Julius. That's Clint Richardson. Irving comes down and he finds the open man and he hits him in the corner. And Richardson with 2. So Richardson now with a total of 8.
Notice how Billy Cunningham has been shuttling his players in and out. Malone and Jones back in. Malone against Gilmore. Sweet move inside by Gilmore. Off the chest to go off of Malone, and you'll have a chance for a three-point play.
Hey, Steve, watching this right now, watch how these two big guys bump and bang, and you'll see where the foul comes in the bump by Malone. Now watch.
A good position right there. He gives him the chest, and Gilmore spins right off it, keeps his concentration, finds a spot on the glass for himself, and he has a chance to get involved with the three-point play, but can't complete it. Bobby Jones on the rebound.
50-39, 4:57 to play in the half. Halftime tonight, we'll have some interesting features. One will be an interview Steve had with Keen Banks. And a traveling violation on Malone, who's getting frustrated. Malone is getting frustrated. And he started a run before he put it down, and now you'll have more to inbound with Edmondson backcourt against Richardson and Tony, the guard line for Philadelphia.
What happened, Eddie, you can't get up after you've gone on the floor for the ball, and Malone got up. That's when they made the traveling.
Edmondson one-on-one against Tony. Richardson trying to double down. They'll bring that guard down to double once the ball goes in the corner. And Richardson had to cover up, get back out to Moore. Fred Roberts was a good shooter in college, played last year in Italy. Did a good job averaging 19 points and 11 rebounds a game there.
Position too good by Gilmore, showing his strength right there. Malone's trying to body him again, and he just comes right inside. And Malone says, watch the play at the other end. Same thing is happening. Malone wants the ball now.
52-39, big Spurs lead right here. 4:12 to play in the half. Tony! And did he drive the boulevard that time? Gilmore with Johnny Moore, Edmondson. They've got Mike Mitchell at the other wing, a little over 6'7", and Roberts at 6'11" up front with Irving guarding him.
Maybe he was the guy in that Surrey with the fringe on the top, huh?
After I got through with it, right? Tony against Edmondson.
Strong drive, puts the man out of the way, goes in and scores. So Tony gets back-to-back layups.
Johnny Moore helps Tony get back up. Nice sportsmanship, but you could have used a couple of extra steps, John.
Gervin, good block over the top. They want a goaltending. They're not going to get it. Johnny Moore says, you saw it, you had to see it.
Remember, Philadelphia can swat some shots twice this year. They had 19 in one game. Best mark so far this year.
Well, it looked awfully close. Irving looked like he got it at the top. They come in back inside to Gilmore. Keep Edmondson now.
Edmondson is a high schooler in this area. He used to watch George Gervin and dream about his moves at night. Now he's got a couple of these picked up pretty well as he emulates nicely and scores a pair. 54-43, big lead. The doctor. That's Richardson. And trying to shoot it over Edmondson, gets it back deep in the corner. Under pressure, wide open Tony to Bobby Jones. Always has a good field goal percentage. And with a left hand that time, draws the foul. Jones switching to the left hand to take it away from the defender coming in on the right side. Good reflex.
Well, whenever Bobby gets in that close, he's most comfortable shooting with the left hand. A natural left-hander but plays basketball most of the time with the right. He's like Rick Roby in that sense. When they get down in deep, they want to put the ball in the other hand. Very successful. Bobby Jones is really an improvement as a free throw shooter, up to 86% now.
And Philly is a team 5 for 5 in the game. Bobby Jones, 10-year man, 6'9", 205 from North Carolina. #1 pick originally of Houston. He also played in the ABA. He has made 7 straight all-defensive teams, and I told you about him being the 6th man that received the award in the NBA last year. Jones and Malone up front on that picket line on the front with Julius Irving. They've got Andrew Toney and Clint Richardson, the guards, trying to post up strong that time, and the ball off the hand of Mike Mitchell and out of bounds. So a turnover by San Antonio. And a 54-45 lead for the Spurs, and we'll have a timeout. We'll be back with more. This is our special edition on USA. Philadelphia trailing, and we'll be right back after this. Overs, Malone. And shooting it over Gilmore. Gets that little left-angle jump shot from about 12 feet away, and Gilmore's got to get him tighter.
Gilmore's conceding that. He'd rather have Malone out there, and if he misses, he won't have to have him come in for the offensive rebound from that far out on the court. Edmondson.
Looks for the Gilmore screen, was not quite tight enough. Gilmore trying to take it up in a crowd, and a foul is called. Set the lineup. You've got Artis Gilmore in the middle, along with Mitchell and Gene Banks. That's their starting front line with Moore and Edmondson, one of their bench guards, in there. Now they're going to get Gervin back in, and they'll replace Keith Edmondson with George Gervin, 6'8" for 6'5". On the other side, you've got Sam Williams, Bobby Jones, and Mo Malone on the front line. Andrew Toney and Richardson. Now they make a change, and Mo Cheeks comes back in for Philadelphia.
Notice the shuttle, and both coaches doing it, but I think McComb feeling perhaps a little bit of heat as the lead has shrunk down to 7 points. 54-47, quickly gets Gervin back in, who has 19. Gilmore showing once again his strength as he had 3 76ers on him, and he hossed that one up to get the foul.
Lead was 13 with 4:10 in the period, 52-39. Now it's 55-47. Artis Gilmore. Gentle giant. I guess that's a pretty apt way to describe him. Nice man right here. Gilmore so far tonight with 9 points in the ballgame. 13-year man from Jacksonville. And an 18-point per game average last year. Gilmore at a college record, 22.7 rebounds per game. Now to Jacksonville, averaged 12 rebounds a game last year, and of course always among the leaders in that category. However, you've got the #1 rebounder always right there, Mo Malone, averaging over 15 boards a game. Look at that move. Backdoor, quick for a big man, Does not quite come far enough under and gets it back and puts it in.
See,
Moses Malone.
He tried the quick drive, got around Gilmore, missed his shot, caught it, turned around and banged in a jumper.
He's got a total of 8. 55-49, down to 6 from 13. Moore played on and sagged off of, and the outside shot by Cheek. Inside they go.
Great block by Sam Williams. They're going to call him over the top, but that shows the athletic ability of Williams. Mitchell with excellent inside position. Williams just uses that leaping ability to chase the ball down.
He can block some shots. Now watch it here.
Didn't look like he touched anybody.
75% career Mike Mitchell, 76% last year. We saw the opening of our telecast here tonight. We mentioned that he was an accomplished tailor. He is. Loves to sew and makes all of his own clothes, they tell me. Scoring, rebound, and field goal percentage and block shot leader while he was at the Auburn University campus. Billy Cunningham wants a 20-second timeout. So Cunningham will take a 20. Bobby Jones will walk into the picture, and Matt Gukas, one of Billy's assistants in the background, will step in there as they pass along some information. The Philadelphia 76ers, and it doesn't appear that the 76ers are going to wane any in the recent or the upcoming years, because they've done a magnificent job of stockpiling draft choices. Like between 1984 and 1986, Philadelphia has 6 #1 picks. Wow. As if they're not imposing enough. 6 #1 picks from 84 to through 86. That sounds like what Dallas has got coming their way.
Yes, but Dallas didn't have the same start as the 76ers, so Dallas is trying to build the team with theirs, and the 76ers continue to try to add. Tony with the ball. They look for a double team. Sam Williams. My.
And Gilmore reading and reacting beautifully coming over, and Sam started his jump a little bit early and did not quite put it in the net. 57-49.
Well, he looked at Gilmore and then looked away, and that broke his concentration, but again showing that great leaping ability. Mitchell across the middle. Nice cut by Mike Mitchell and a hoop to go with it.
This is what the Spurs were hoping would happen. Mitchell has not had a good start, as I've mentioned, shooting only 43%, way down from where he's normally at around 50. But he's had a good night here tonight. He's lighting them up so far.
Tony, strong drive right by Gervin, but it won't go down. That's going to give the Spurs a chance to run.
3-on-2. Banks all the way under. Nice move. Beautiful move, young people. You saw him get too far under. He just carried it under and avoided the attempted block and laid it in from what appeared to be an open side. 61-49. Good reflex instincts by Gene Banks.
Well, that shows you the Spurs' attitude, though. That was a layup that they missed on Andrew Toney. They took it right back out, pushed it down the court, get a layup for Gene Banks. That's Mo Cheeks with that jumper from the outside.
And again, Moses Malone setting it up with an excellent screen, providing Cheeks with the open shot opportunity. Cheeks now with his first 2 points of the ball game. And what you have here now is they're just going to set on it, work it down to the final seconds of the half, with the Spurs a 10-point lead right now. This is the last second shot. Use up the clock, get one opportunity. The buzzer sounds. Philadelphia with 4 seconds in the half. One shot attempt, and Cheeks is knocked down. And Gene Banks, who was born and raised in Philadelphia and wants to look good for the home folks against the home team back there, will get the foul called on him.
Well, they're talking about the official, but there can't be too much argument here. Cheeks bumped a couple of times, once by Johnny Moore, which got him off balance and started on the way down, and Gene Banks reached in. He said he didn't touch him, but there was some contact, and Cheeks will go to the line.
Gene Banks will be the subject of Steve's interview here tonight, as he'll talk to Gene, and we'll also have a feature on Billy Cunningham, the coach of the 76ers. I hear you, Gene.
1 second left on the clock. Cheeks has the chance.
Banks is over here pleading his case. And if I were a barrister, I might give him a pretty good shot at winning it. Banks will get one away and over the backboard. So that's the end of the first half. And Philadelphia has cut the deficit to 8. As you see Gene Banks going away, and we will hear from him very shortly. It's the Spurs with a hot half, 61. Philadelphia, 53. Okay, wait, it's going to get more exciting than this when we return to San Antonio.
Gene Banks is leading the NBA in scoring, but probably is better known down here for his imitations.
We've had a technical problem. We hope we can get back to that discussion with Gene Banks. He is, as I said, a most interesting subject. Very bright individual who graduated from Duke University and, among other things, has spent a little time studying Hebrew, which is not an altogether easy language to try and understand. All right, let's see if we can go back to it right now. Gene Banks with Steve Jones. It's always better the second time around. Let's find out.
Gene Banks is leading the NBA in field goal percentage, but down here in San Antonio is probably known better for his imitations of Howard Cosell. He says he's losing his touch, but for sure this year, Gene, you're not losing your touch at the offensive end. What's the difference between last year and this year in terms of your offensive involvement?
I think, first of all, it's been the maturity of myself going into this ball club and also the confidence that I've had with the coaches being behind me and also my teammates, Ice and Artis and Mike Mitchell have done a great job. And Johnny Moore has helped me get off to a great start getting me the ball. But I think the main thing has been maturity and knowing how to take good shots, picking the shots right, and feeding off everybody else.
All right, well, you talk about great starts, and San Antonio's used to getting off to great starts, and now we're at the bottom of the heap. What's the problem?
Well, the one thing I think starting out the first time was that we weren't in great shape, physical condition, because Coach McCone was trying his best to put the rookies in and get a good concept coming off the bench. He was concerned about that, and he did a great job with that. Execution-wise, we've made a lot of mental mistakes, and this game is not just physical, but it's a mental type of game. And now what it is down, we're like 5 and 8 now, and we're like in the bottom, and we got to work our way up. We have the talent and the confidence to come back and win this division, but it's not going to be easy.
All right, is there any pressure on the team down here? You feeling any heat from the press and the fans, who are great fans down here and supported you very well?
I shouldn't even. Well, you look at yourself, I think they've been spoiled to the point of knowing that we've been a great success even before I was here, which I've been here. This is my 3rd year coming. And the Spurs always had a great start since 73. 73 was the first year they had a bad start. And I think the one thing I like about it is the adversity that we're dealing with now. We have to overcome this, and it's going to make us stronger later in the season. The new officiating is a lot to get used to because they don't know a lot of the moves that a lot of players, but they're getting better and better. That's one thing I like about it. The officials are doing a great job and getting better and better. The thing with the strike and everything, I don't know much about, so I can't talk about it. I like those guys too. But I think the adversity is going to help us a great deal down the stretch.
All right, well, you know, you've always been in the position of liking challenges and accepting the leadership role on this team. Do you see yourself stepping more and more to the front as one of the leaders on this team in your 3rd year?
Yeah, we have a bunch of leaders, as you say. Ice is more like a quiet leader, and Artis doesn't like to step on people's toes because, like you say, I come from Chicago, and I don't want to step on Ice's toes. But we work hand in hand in a lot of things, and sometimes I work better with the rookies, too, when they're out there on the floor or on the bench. And it seems that we all have that quality for being a leader. And I think the one thing about it is that sometimes it calls for a certain guy to rise to that. And at times I have, but I don't take that role. Like you said, I'll take it literally.
All right, now you got something you want to say to your people at home?
I like to say hello to Dad because all the other guys always say hello to Mom. I like to say hello to my mom and all the people back in Philadelphia and my old coaches, Krzyzewski and Foster, and all my friends. I like to say hello to them, and that I like to thank them for their support.
All right, let's go back to Eddie Doucette.
All right, Gene, articulate, affable, and a very interesting young man. I agree. Everybody says hi to Mom. How about Dad? We want to thank Gene Banks for taking time to speak with us. And on behalf of Toyota and your local Toyota dealers, we want to present him with a great-looking Toyota tote bag. We have Billy Cunningham coming up when we return. We'll have that for you on the way back to the Hemisphere in San Antonio. This is a special edition version of NBA basketball on USA. And we're coming right back.
Honey, you did it!
Track Drive. Only Jeannie has it.
Jeannie welcomes the ones you love home.
From the time I was a kid, playing basketball came naturally. Basketball comes harder to kids who are mentally retarded. But with the right training, they can learn almost anything. Foul. Foul, you fouled it. When they do, these special children become Special Olympians. The NBA supports Special Olympics. Why don't you? Please volunteer your time or money.
The preceding message has been furnished as a public service by the National Basketball Association.
They've won some divisional flags here in San Antonio, and they love their Spurs. And they ought to, because tonight at halftime, there it is, 61-53, the San Antonio Spurs. Well, what does it take to blend the elements to make a championship team, and what are the pressures of coaching the NBA? Tonight in our NBA profile, Billy Cunningham, the guy from Erasmus back in New York, answers some of those questions and more. Let's find out.
65, Billy Cunningham joined the Philadelphia 76ers following an outstanding collegiate career at North Carolina. Cunningham averaged over 20 points per game during his NBA career, and he earned every one of them. No one followed their shot better than the Kangaroo Kid. He was never fancy. All he did, time and again, was get the job done.
I loved it. It was just so much fun. I just felt that who could be any luckier than I was at that point in my life, that here I was doing something I would do on the weekends for nothing, and I'm getting paid, and this is my profession. That was my whole approach to it, that I was such a fortunate person, and that the only thing I had to do was to try and be the best player I possibly could.
In his second year with the Sixers, Cunningham played a leading role in their rise to a world championship. Billy C. was the consummate team player on a team voted the best in NBA history.
That surely was a great team. They weren't concerned with who scored the points or who got the rebounds, just as long as the job was done. And it was just a lot of fun playing with that group, you know, with Chamberlain, who was just an awesome player. Luke Jackson, Chet Walker, Wally Jones, Hal Greer, Matty Gukas, Billy Melchione. Just great players, great chemistry. It's a shame that team was broken up, though, after the next year. I think that it was a team that would have won another 1 or 2 championships if they were kept together.
In 1977, Cunningham made the transition from player to coach. He accumulated 300 victories, faster than any coach in NBA history. But it wasn't as easy as it looked.
When I was a player, I thought of myself as a student of the game. And then when I became a coach, I thought I'd be able to step in and be able to do a good job right away. And it didn't take me very long to realize that not only did I have to worry about myself, I had to worry about 12 players, 22 other teams, just intangible things that you might not see or hear about. And you don't have the release that a player does. The player is out there running and he works off this nervous energy, and a coach is just limited to more or less a little box, you know, and he cannot go out of that area or else. You know, you're just mentally drained when the game is over.
We have off days, but he doesn't take a day off, and you can see that, and sometimes you can see the wear and the tear and the drain on him. But you know, he recovers from that and he bounces back, and he gets back into the task of what he feels it takes to lead his team to a championship.
I hope I'm getting better every game, and I think I try to coach the similar way I played. You know, just you just give it your best shot. You work as hard as you possibly can to be the best player you can be, or the best coach.
Kodak introduces the extraordinary Kodamatic Trim Print Instant Color Film. Unlike an ordinary instant print, the extraordinary trim print lets you lift off the image to capture the color just the way you like it. And now look how slim I am. Here I am. I slip into places the ordinary bulky instant picture doesn't fit.
He didn't tell you. Trim print is only for Kodamatic instant cameras. What?
You didn't tell him it's only from Kodak.
Extraordinary trim print.
As a relief pitcher, everybody thought I had it easy. See Pat here? He'd pitch his heart out for 8 innings or so, and then
Sparky come in, toss 3 or 4 pitches, and walk away with a win.
But I had to
train just like the rest of us.
Yeah, well, I still like to keep in shape, and I drink
He drinks light beer from Miller.
See, light's
less filling,
and light
really tastes great.
Will you just let me finish?
Why? You never let me finish.
Like beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Let me finish that for you, Sparky.
Scope presents The Way It Was.
Mom, mouthwash tastes like medicine.
If it didn't, it wouldn't work.
Henry believed it. Today, he still does.
Henry, try Minty Scope. Tastes good.
Then it doesn't work.
Scope works. Don't let the good taste fool you. Try. For me?
Minty.
Fresh breath that lasts. And you did it all for me.
Scope works. Don't let the good taste fool you.
USA toasts Thanksgiving with an evening of suspense and sports. Starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, get Just the Facts with Jack Webb and Harry Morgan on Dragnet. Then at 8, it's Bowling's Best in the Brunswick Memorial World Open. Next, it's an hour of hard driving in the Grand American Race. And at 11 Eastern, a terrifying obsession plagues a mother and child on the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. Your Thanksgiving feast begins at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on USA Thursday.
It's halftime, and as you can see, the San Antonio Spurs really off to a good start here, at least through the first half, 61-53. At one point, they led by 13 points. And the way the scoring went for Philadelphia was not quite enough to get them where they want to be, although Andrew Toney had 12, Julius Erving 9, Malone 8, Clint Richardson 8, and 4 each for Cheeks Jones and Clement Johnson for the Philadelphia 76ers. On the other side of the table, the San Antonio Spurs were led by George Gervin with 19, Mitchell with 16, Artis Gilmore with 9, 7 for Johnny Moore, 4 for Edmondson and Banks, and Kevin Williams off the bench had a pair. Team-wise, the San Antonio Ball Club had the better of it at the rebounding statistic, as you can see. Going to the top, the 76ers 55 to 48% from the floor, 100% from the line to 67% from the line. And in the rebounding area, the Spurs with the edge. And here's a statistic that's a bit surprising. Philadelphia 9 turnovers to the Spurs 3. So it would not indicate that the Spurs bench came in at one time and yielded or almost yielded the lead. They had a 13-point lead. It slipped to 1. And then with Mo McCone putting his regulars back in there, they built the lead back. And now Billy Cunningham has won half of basketball to try and pull his troops together and overcome the 61-53 lead. The 76ers opened the second half by inbounding. On top, Cheeks to Mark Ivaroni. Yeah, Mo Malone settled on the left side. Toney wanted to shoot, but coming out to play him around the screen was Gervin, and he couldn't launch it over the 6'8 Gervin. Shot clock to 6. Malone down on the baseline, double up, open man, they lose the ball, and Irving gets it back before it's credited as a turnover, and the shot clock sounds as the ball was on the iron, and here come the San Antonio Spurs.
They almost got that one to go down. Toney should have taken that initial shot. That's a shot that certainly is capable of making. Gilmore misses his, but follows his own rebound and gets it to go down, and they got a foul inside. Malone cannot believe the call.
Artis Gilmore, he is a tower of strength, as you can see, 7'2", 265 pounds.
Again, positioning is everything for Gilmore, and once he gets down this deep, he's virtually impossible to stop. Using his strength to muscle it up off the glass, has a chance for a three-point play.
Not a bad free throw shooter, 74% last year, average 18 a game. And Steve, we talked about this before. How do you deny Gilmore? You've got to either prevent him from getting to his spot and then try and deny the ball. Once he gets it deep, it's all over. They could make a 4-pointer out of it and do. So give Gilmore his 2 and Banks 2 more. And a 4-point swing here. It's 65-53, a 12-point San Antonio lead. And now Billy Cunningham is red hot. He calls a timeout immediately. He's going to try and stem the tide, as they say, and turn it around. We're just underway in the third period, and it's San Antonio 65, Philadelphia 53 to foul. Very, very nicely done by Philadelphia. They saw Toney on top on the left side, backed off to give him one-on-one action, and he draws the foul.
Well, I talked about the defense of Gervin, which is his offense, and so far he's outscored Toney, but Billy Cunningham certainly, as long as they have that isolation with Gervin, and Toney is going to allow Toney to go one-on-one and try to get into that basket area. He was successful the last time. That's how he got the free throws.
Incidentally, last week in our game from Los Angeles, we mentioned Mitch Kupchak practicing with the Lakers. Well, maybe many of you are aware, but he has been activated by Los Angeles to make that strong team even stronger. And I wish him well, because he has really had a hard go of it the last couple of years with that severe break of the leg around the knee area. He's back now, so we'll see and watch his progress. 67-57. Johnny Moore against Mo Cheeks. A lot of interchanging and banging down on the baseline. Now they go to Gilmore against Malone. Gervin to Moore. Swing it down off the triangle. Up short with a left-hand hook. Malone looks to outlet. Has to come to the short man, Cheeks.
Nice penetration. Looked like he was going to go right over in his head, but he grabbed somebody on the way down, so Cheeks scored very quickly at the other end. Makes it an 8-point game.
6 points for Mo Cheeks in the ball game. Gervin down the baseline. That's where he loves to go. They had to get help, and Ivoroni came over and made the shot a little bit more difficult. They come up 4-on-2. Irving in the middle, tried to cross over, stripped by Johnny Moore. Up to Gervin. Blocked by the dock, and they call a goaltend. As Irving comes from nowhere to try and knock it away. And he knocked it OB.
Well, that's a great hustle by Irving not to give up on this. Gervin thought he had it solo, and you'll see Irving get right up there as it's just over the top. Good call by the official, back to a 10-point lead.
That's Irving. Cheeks, Malone.
That's what Malone wants on Gilmore. Gets inside, chases his own shot. That allows Ivoroni to rebound. They get a foul on Artis Gilmore, who thought he had an excellent block.
But how about Malone's offensive rebound? He's the #1 offensive rebounder in basketball, and he shows you here.
And notice how quickly he got in. He got Gilmore up off his feet from the outside. Then Gilmore tries to come over and makes the shot block and gets a piece of the arm for Ivoroni.
They may not give him credit for an offensive rebound there because it appeared he did not have complete control. Have to wait until the stat sheet comes out. There's Ivoroni, the role player on the starting 5 for Philadelphia. He's the strong forward, 6'10", 2 1/4 from Virginia. An original #3 pick of the New York Knicks in '78. Cut several times and finally discovered in the summer league by Philadelphia. Brought him to camp last year, and he fit that puzzle beautifully. Does not look to score a lot, just does a lot of things you don't see in the box score. Just a steady player that won't hurt you with a lot of mistakes. Gervin. Thrown inside, but Gilmore over the back. And fouled down deep. And a shoving fall, and that time it might have been on Ivoroni or Moses Malone. Let's wait and find out.
Get the foul on Mike Ivoroni. Got himself sandwiched in there and didn't do anything but try to grab a piece of Gilmore's arm going back up. Gilmore had the tip the first time, couldn't get it, grabbed it again, tried to control it, power his way up. He's having a strong second half start.
Ivoroni with a pair, and Philadelphia with 3 team fouls here in the 3rd period. Ivoroni, incidentally, ought to know a little bit about Ralph Sampson. After he was cut from the Knicks, he went back and worked at his alma mater. And all he did was work against Sampson to try and put a little body on him to teach him how to handle the strength, the bulk, and develop a little strength of his own. So Ivoroni figures that Ralph Sampson has paid a few dues, and he says that the young man's going to have a brilliant career.
Yeah, owes him some of that paycheck.
Don't give it up, Ralph. Back to Tony. That's a 2-pointer. And now they're banging inside as Ivoroni and Mitchell start swinging the arms a little bit. Got tied up inside. Tony now with 18 points. 71-63. That Spurs lead 8. One thing that Billy Cunningham said was that they have not had consistency at all. They've had one good game all year. They'd have a good half and then a bad second half, or vice versa. And what they're looking for is a team that can get it all together. One game to go along with the only other game they've had all season, even though they're 9-3 for the year. Rebound Malone up to the doctor. Trailing Ivoroni. Back to Tony. See how he gave it up, and he pulls up short, gets his own missed shot, puts it in with the left hand. That's Andrew Toney.
That's excellent ball movement. Toney taking a page from Malone, just chased his own shot. Now a 6-point ball game.
Toney now with 20 points in the ball game. 71-65. Johnny Moore. Moore, Mitchell. They interchange, and now they double back to get back to their respective men.
No position. Shot by Mike Mitchell out of bounds when he released the ball. Nothing but net.
You know, last year was the only year in his career, and he's been in the league 6 years, where Mitchell has averaged under 20 points or more a game. He finished 19.9 last year. So you know he can shoot. He's an offensive player. Here's Cheeks. Inside they go Irving. One-on-one on Gene Banks as they cross Banks over on Julius. Got to put a little muscle on him. And he took him inside, didn't he? Julius with 11 points. He's among the leaders in scoring in the NBA this week.
Well, he used that long arm to just reach around Gene Banks after getting a good position. Now they're trying to pressure in the backcourt, and they use Gilmore to get it across.
Gilmore gets and then gives a brush screen to Cheeks to enable Moore to go, but he doesn't slide all the way to the far side of the floor. So Moore will give it on top. That's Mitchell. He's hot. Mike Mitchell And Mitchell now at 20 points for the ball game. 75-67. Mo Cheeks from West Texas State. MVP down there, MVP of the Missouri Valley Conference. Did it all. Johnny Moore, University of Texas. Gervin, offensive foul right there.
Tony. He had all he had to do that time was hold his ground, but he wanted to make sure that Tony had no chance for it. Put the right arm out. That's when they called the foul right in front of the official. Excellent call. 76ers have a chance to get within 4 in this possession.
Bobby Jones in. Ivaroni goes out. You've got Cheeks now going over to Moses Malone. There's Julius Erving, played by Gene Banks. Bobby Jones pulls up short. Had that little stack set up inside. The turnaround comes up a little bit shy. There's Gene Banks under the Philadelphia pressure. Banks forced to handle a ball. They double him up, trap him at the midcourt line. Gervin. The guards are not going back to help out. And that's preventing San Antonio from getting down the floor in a hurry and making them come down and set up and not leaving them that much time to get a shot off. As Philadelphia starts to close and they're within 6. Moses Malone.
Malone has not had many offensive tries tonight. Tony ducks in and takes care of that.
And suddenly it's down to a 4-point lead. Was 13 in the first half, 10 moments ago, and now with about 5.5 minutes to play in the third, San Antonio looking for a win. They've lost a couple in a row. Wants a timeout. Timeout here in San Antonio. And we would like to remind our local systems that we're going to break right now so that they can identify. It's the Spurs 75 and the Sixers 71.
Meet a maid who makes an absolute mess out of murder on the Alfred Hitchcock Hour at 11:30 p.m. Eastern tonight on USA.
On a wonderful, wonderful night like tonight.
You might think the most important thing in Pat Boone's life is show business, but it isn't. Listen.
The most important thing in my life is my personal friendship with God. See, I've always drawn a lot of practical help from the Bible. And the Bible says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. You also can experience God's guidance and love. This new paperback book can help you. Power for Living will give you strength and courage and can start you on the way to a personal relationship with God.
Power for Living will help you meet your problems and challenges. To get your free copy by mail, call this toll-free number now. There's no obligation. No one will visit or call.
Power for Living. I found out it works. Try it.
The book and the call are free. So call this toll-free number now.
They call them the baseline bums in San Antonio. And no one has more fun than they do. And they come down here and are ready to roll each and every game the Spurs play here at the Hemisphere. It's rocking pretty good, isn't it? All right, back comes Philadelphia now with Bobby Jones, Andrew Toney, Mo Malone, Erving, and Clint, Maurice Cheeks with Gilmore. As you see, 13 rebounds going tonight against the #1 rebounder in basketball many times over, Moses Malone.
Again, you have to mention that Malone is operating with a bad ankle right now, but he's out there because of the pride and the fact that he wants the 76ers, again, to be in a position to get in that championship round.
Spurs out-rebounding Philly by 5. Gilmore with 13, but being outshot 57 to 48% from the floor. As the 24-second buzzer starts, gets stuck, and now as you see Toney trying to take it to the hoop, he's fouled by George Gervin coming in.
Mike Mitchell took an uncharacteristic jump hook for himself. That allowed the 76ers to get out on a break. Gervin knew he was in trouble, so he just grabbed him before he could get up in the air. And if you're going to make a foul and prevent the three-point try, you got to get them before they can get the arms up. Good play by Gervin that time, but Toney's deadly from the line as well. 22 points, and he only had 12 and a half, so that means he's got 10 in his period and counting. And he's even his matchup with Gervin.
Team fouls are even at 3. Andrew Toney at the line, as you see. Many people wondering whether the Philadelphia 76ers can repeat. Gene Banks probably one of them. Now, you might want to know that the longest string of consecutive titles in NBA history is owned by the Boston Celtics, who have done it 8 times, at 8 in a row between 59 and 66. Illegal defense. Second time tonight it's been called against Philadelphia. We'll have a technical foul.
This is a bad call here if it's a technical foul on Billy Cunningham, because Cunningham comes running off the bench and says, "Who?" And he hits him with the technical foul. They're already going to get the technical foul for the illegal defense, so they're going to get a couple right there. Perhaps an overreaction by Ken Maurer, the official, right there to get Cunningham back on the bench.
That's the one area these new officials have got to be a little bit cautious in. They're calling the ever so quick technical foul. Now what do we got here? Now they thought that there was two technicals called, but evidently there weren't.
Well, it appears there wasn't. They did get the one technical foul.
For the illegal defense, not for Billy Cunningham coming off the bench. So they amend, they take one shot. The Spurs get it back, of course, where the whistle stopped the play. The time remaining on the clock, and you see you've got now Mitchell missing. Inside, Gilmore tries to put it up, and a foul is called again underneath.
Well, bodies flying all over the place. Perhaps should have been a whistle on the Mike Mitchell, Bobby Jones contact. Jones probably should have gotten a whistle that time. Malone had good inside position, got pushed out of the way. That's how Gilmore was able to get the offensive rebound. Then his arm was grabbed. They finally called that one. So the Spurs get a break ahead by 2, and Gilmore trying to build on that lead from the free throw line.
Well, that is a break because the lead had slipped to 2, now back up to 3 at 76-73. And Gilmore, who's played a very fine ball game here tonight, a chance to add and can't, with Malone getting the rebound. Moses Malone, incidentally, 7 boards in the first half. Gilmore, 10. Two of the best in the middle in the game, and there's Moses Malone taking Gilmore out a little bit with an open shot on the right side. He's got 10 points in it.
Gilmore is going to give him that shot. They would rather see him out there banging away from the outside than inside. But again, it's a 1-point ball game.
76-75 now. Flat pass, Moore, turnover, taken away by Philly. 3-on-2, Jones right wing. Oh boy, did they get out and fill the lanes in a tie ball game. Now they go ahead by 1, pardon me. 77-76.
Well, Cheeks made a great steal to get up with his hands, knock it down. They get it back to him. Bobby Jones, who can run that open court as well as anybody, takes it over the top. Fred Roberts against Irving. Irving with the deflection and the steal.
And he tight ropes the near sideline against Gilmore. By Gilmore. 3-point Philadelphia lead. This is where they take charge. Fred Roberts, the young rookie in the NBA, out there under fire now, in Philadelphia coming back and going on top. And we have a 20-second time here at the Hemisphere in the third, as it's Philadelphia 79, San Antonio 76. And now Mo McCone, the young first-year coach, talking to his club about the possible mistake that they may have made that has turned it around, and Philly has gone ahead.
Well, you always talk about defensive pressure, but that's an excellent pass from Cheeks to Bobby Jones. Jones over the top with the great jump and an extension, and Philly's on top. Cunningham has to be happy about the defensive pressure. Again, the 76ers a year ago were dominating teams in the first half, and they're using their second half this year to dominate. Teams seem to be really ready to play against the 76ers, the defending champs. 76ers a bit flat, but they seem to be on top right now.
76ers, who are just devastating in the playoffs. 13 games, 12 wins. There are your fast break points in the last few minutes, and it's turned it around for Philly. They're running. They have scored 12 to San Antonio 6. They're at their best when they're running, as are the Spurs. Moore rejected by Dr. J. Dug out by Mike Mitchell. Inside to Gilmore. He's down and deep, and he lays it home. Impossible to stop, even if you're Moses Malone. And a mistake by Philadelphia. A mistake by Philadelphia right there.
Okay. It was a mistake. They inbound that basketball, and they don't get it in. Throw it away. Now they're going to get a substitution.
79-78. And the Spurs take the lead as we yo-yo it here at the Hemisphere. Now Maurice Cheeks walks it over. Billy Cunningham with 3:05 to play in the third, holding up a set play, and they go to the half-court offense. Give it to the Doc. Isolated on Roberts. Want to take advantage of the kid. Can't make it work. Gilmore with a rebound. Got Johnny Moore ahead to Roberts. Takes it in on the wing. Goes in strong, and Bobby Jones with a reject. Mitchell has it stripped for his Cheeks. That's why he's always among the leaders in steals in the NBA. He is one of the best. Down to Malone.
Great help by Bobby Jones on Irving, and then they quickly flash Malone across the middle. One of the few chances he's had down and deep. gets Gilmore off of his feet, holds the ball out, draws a foul. He has a chance for free throws that would put the 76ers back on top.
Artis Gilmore. He has 2 fouls in the game. The Spurs have 4. Philadelphia has 4 here in this third period of play.
That's an interesting stat right there. Malone out rebounding all of the opposing centers, so you know how hard he works in the middle, and that's a primary job for anyone that faces him to keep him away from the glass. Easier said than done. Malone gets them both.
Moses Malone plays a lot of minutes.
They make an inbound turnover the same way as Philadelphia does, and Philly will get the ball back up by 1.
Malone averages over 38 minutes a game. I'm sure they'd like to cut that down. On the other side, Gilmore, they'd like to get his minutes down to 30 or 32 a game. But it's tough. You want to win, too. And on the attempt to take it in and bank it, Andrew Toney is fouled, and we're down to the 2:34 mark in the third. And that'll put the Spurs over the limit with Keith Edmondson committing the foul.
Well, Edmondson, as with George Gervin, offensive players are going to have a tough time with that offensive player. Both of those players are going to have to attack Andrew Toney back at the other end.
You saw the numbers for Andrew Toney. My, oh my, how he has developed. Just a beautiful basketball player, Andrew Toney. When he came out of college, very few people realized who he was, even though he was picked #1 in the 1980 draft by Philadelphia. He misses a pair. They are now 17 for 19 at the line. Those were the first 2 misses for Philadelphia. They had made 17 free throws in a row. Mitchell. They interchange on the weak side. Roberts pops back and dishes over to the safety valve. That's Johnny Moore. They ran that play very, very well. They don't have many plays in their offense, but they did that and they executed flawlessly.
Well, look at the front line of Philadelphia. Clem Johnson, Moses Malone, and Bobby Jones. So they're going to go for a little bit of rebounding power and power inside. And we'll see if they attack the middle. Toney with the ball.
1-point game. Philadelphia trailing. That's Clement Johnson playing on a bad ankle. He sprained in Detroit, or against Detroit in Philadelphia last night. And Malone with a loose ball foul. And that is number 5 for Philadelphia. And look at Billy Cunningham. He's upset.
Well, it was a good call. The automatic call over the back, and you'll see Malone gets the elbow on top. Stop try here for Clem Johnson against a couple of San Antonio Spurs. Now there's Malone as he gets the arm over Fred Roberts, and that's where the foul and the contact occurred.
Fred Roberts, Brigham Young University, drafted originally by Milwaukee on a pick that they got from Dallas in a trade that sent Pat Cummings to Dallas. It was a number 2 pick. Roberts, incidentally, played in Italy, was signed by New Jersey this year after the Bucks sent him over there, and then sent down here as the player to be named in exchange for Stan Albeck, the coach that defected and went to New Jersey. Moses Malone, as he hits a little open baseline jumper. He's got 14 points, and it's 83-83 now. A tie game, and we're down to 1:33 in the third period. It'll get real exciting down the stretch if it continues this way. Mitchell. And honeycombs and pops out, but Keith Edmondson takes it away and lays it in. Washington, Cleveland. 91-91 in the fourth. Milwaukee, Golden State, 39-39 in the second quarter. And Indiana, 85, Detroit, 76 in the third. Other NBA scores of games in action to report. Brent Richardson on the miss. Roberts with the outlet. Up to Edmondson. And the young man from Purdue did a very fine job. He can play forward and he can play guard. He is a very good scorer. Not exactly what you might have called a shooter. He's an offensive player, a scorer. He can score from all over, a la Gervin. Clement Johnson. Moses Malone. Played by Gilmore. 7 on the shot clock. Backdoor double team. Knocked away by Johnny Moore. Good defense by Moore. As soon as he went baseline, you double down and use the baseline as another man. So in effect, you've got 3 people working on the man with the ball.
Well, they had the good hands, quick hands by Johnny Moore to knock that one away. Gilmore gotten beat again on the baseline by Malone. Malone, tough shot, line drive.
Oh, boy. That's a schoolyard shot, isn't it?
I don't know if you call it a schoolyard shot, but that's one that's in Malone's repertoire. He drove that one in to get him back within 2. 87-85. That's the kind you make when the asphalt is so hot that the smoke is curling out of it in mid-July. Falling away over the end line. You're warm. I guess we're close to Thanksgiving. I'm hungry. Edmondson. Oh, no!
Mo Malone got a piece of it, but it went down the wrong way, and that is the end of 3. So Edmondson with a big hoop here to give the Spurs a 4-point lead. And this crowd arrived in the shadows of the Alamo, the Hemisphere Arena, at the end of 3. San Antonio 89, the Philadelphia 76ers 85. Can the defending champs come back? Let's find out.
Taking home movies on my daughter's 8th birthday sounded okay to me, until she said ice skating. Good thing for me, I've got JVC's new compact video camera and recorder. Good thing they only weigh about 7 pounds. This camera's got through-the-lens autofocusing. Watch, it's even got optional titling.
Next year, how about a ski party?
JVC Portable VHS Video. When you want to relive a memory, we take you there.
I love men who eat chunky chicken soup with a fork. Fork? It's so manly. Chunky's filled with chunks of chicken and noodles. You'd have to call it a meal. Meal? Of course, a spoon is so right for soup. But what I really love is decisiveness.
I always use both. Chunky's a soup that eats like a meal.
Campbell's Chunky Chicken Noodle, the soup that eats like a meal.
Coffee or tea?
Both.
Do you know who I am? His extraordinary portrayal of Gandhi thrilled audiences and critics alike. Now, Oscar winner Ben Kingsley brings his exceptional talents to the USA Network as Shakespearean actor Edmund Kean.
I wanted to be monarch of the English stage, the leading tragic actor. That throne was mine.
An American television premiere. From Broadway to London to the USA Network, Ben Kingsley is Edmund Kean at 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday, December 5th.
There's the Steve Jones fan club, cheering and wailing away. Wanted to know when you're going to go up and serve some of that turkey to him, Jones. I heard you're a pretty good cook now. I didn't know that. Culinary art is something that never escaped you, huh?
Never tell all of your secrets, Eddie.
That's one you've been holding back pretty good.
We'll see who does the cooking here in this fourth and final period of play. You know, during the timeout, we talked about the Sixers and their ability to come from behind, and the coaching staff does not like that, but the 76ers have always been able to come back. Trying one more time tonight, down by 4 to a fourth quarter.
Bo Cheeks and the Sixers trying to apply the pressure, make them use up as much of the clock in the backcourt. Moore got knocked down. Bobby Jones ran right through the screen, and the ball lost. Up comes Cheeks, back to Jones, and Mike Mitchell is down on the floor. He got hit right in the head.
Well, he got a finger in the eye. They should be taking a 20-second. Fred Roberts hasn't said a thing yet. Bobby Jones trying to make another steal. They finally get the 20-second timeout. Gilmore is incensed over there as Mitchell's right on the floor.
They've already had their 20 in this half, so they've got to take a regulation timeout, I believe, Steve. I believe they have to take a regular timeout. Yes, they do. That was the problem. They couldn't get a 20. They got to take the regulation timeout. You'll see how he goes down here, and we'll tell you that it's an 89-87 ball game, San Antonio.
Bobby Jones re-stepped trying to make the steal. Got him right in the eye as he brought the hand up. The official did not see it. The ball was knocked away. They continued on down court. Jones took it over the top for an easy 2.
Now that leaves the San Antonio Spurs with 3 timeouts remaining in the game. Remember, in the NBA, you get up to a total of 7 over the course of a ball game, and you can have no more than 4 in the fourth period. So you can save your timeouts and utilize 4 in the fourth period. They don't carry over to the overtime. You also get 2 20-second timeouts per game, or 1 per half. Well, the Spurs used their 1 allotted timeout this half, so they were forced to take a regular timeout, which they did not want to do or would not want to do. But of course, considering the circumstance, you had to take the timeout to get Mitchell out of there and hope that he wasn't hurt. So now they'll bring back Fred Roberts, the first-year man from BYU. Gene Banks. So there's 6'10.5", close to 6'11", 6'8" Banks. Johnny Moore at one of the guard positions. Johnny Moore is 6'3", 185 pounds. You've got Keith Edmondson at 6'5", and you've got the big man from Macomb. That's Artis Gilmore. Bobby Jones standing off to the right of your screen moments ago. And they'll inbound with Cheeks, excellent defensive player. Gilmore deflects, and Moore is right there to pick it off after the deflection. Clement Johnson playing on Gilmore. Malone is over on Fred Roberts now on the switch. You got Banks played by Bobby Jones. And all of that for naught now. As Roberts posting up, he wanted the ball. He got it down there, and he put it in.
Now, they took that shot over Malone. Malone was just trying to use his experience, maybe force him to shoot the ball quickly, but Roberts had himself under control. Good move.
4-point lead. Look at that great move by Jones, and a follow by Mo Malone, the #1 offensive rebounder in the game. #1 rebounder, but offensive rebounding-wise, they don't come close. On the miss by Jones after a beautiful flash move inside. On the follow off the delay that time, Malone with a tip-in off the jam. 91-89. You've got Banks on top. He's a big man. Now he'll give it up and get inside on the post-up.
Shot clock.
And Moore trips, falls down, and tied up by Bobby Jones. And now some turnovers are hurting the San Antonio Spurs. Julius Erving will come back in for Philadelphia. There's the Doc. 13-year veteran. Watch the follow. This is teamwork here at the offensive end.
Well, anytime a player can slice across the middle like that and get that position, that's going to allow center of Malone's dimension, who goes to the glass so well, to take it over the top. Excellent job by him. Malone goes out of the ball game. McComb says, well, Otter, she can take a blow right now. McNamara in. He'll go against Clem Johnson. Erving replacing Moses Malone, Bobby Jones, and Johnny Moore jump. So Johnny Moore did a good job because he had lost the ball against the shot clock.
Bobby Jones taps to McNamara, and McNamara trying to take it in strong is foul. That's what they want McNamara to do. Get inside, utilize your strength and size at 7'1", 235 pounds, and take it up in a crowd.
That's his game. That's what he does best. That's what he came out of University of California doing, getting that garbage, and somehow or another, his game is ugly, but he gets it done.
You know, Steve, you and I recall watching him over at the Aloha Classic 2 years ago, an event we carried on the USA Network, and all his scoring was done around the basket. Every time the ball went up, he was around the ball. He's got a knack for that. Not much range, but that's where they have to get him to go. Stay inside. Gervin. In and out. And knocked out of bounds. It'll come back now to San Antonio. 91-89. 2-point ball game. No time for mistakes now with the clock slipping away to the 10-10 mark here in the fourth period. Banks, they flip-flop on the forwards, and Edmondson on the miss. Knocked away by Bobby Jones. To Clint Richardson, to Mo Cheeks. Follow up inside after he was forced to change the shot, and coming out of there with it is Maurice Cheeks.
Back inside. He thought he got fouled again. He doesn't. They can't get this one. They have two offensive layups. They miss both of them, and San Antonio gets away without being scored on, and Johnny Moore will try to trigger an offensive play.
Very close to a basket interference on that last offensive set at the other end. On the miss, here comes Philadelphia. That's Clint Richardson. Good guard play, gets to the middle, surveys both sides of the floor. Erving. And we are tied again. So we're tied at 91-91. 76ers overcoming a 13-point deficit to tie it, or actually go ahead for the first time at 77-76. About 14,000 here tonight. Watching the Spurs battle for a win. They've lost 2 in a row. McNamara tried to put it down instead of going up strong. Shot clock to 4. They've got to get a shot away here. Tough pass by Fred Roberts trying to go baseline to Banks. Stolen by Philly. Erving. And McComb is going to have to call a timeout here to stop the flow if he can. 93-91 Philadelphia. He's going to opt to pass on the time and let them come up and set up their half-court game.
Well, Erving made a great steal down at the other end and then push it, forcing the defense to pick him up, and then he found it inside. Johnny Moore wanted a three-point play, doesn't get it.
And it's 93-93, and Philadelphia will call for the timeout. So we have turned it around. The Spurs once had control, but Philadelphia, a team that charges down the stretch, is right there where they want to be. It's 93-93 from San Antonio, and this is Special Edition USA NBA Basketball.
Everyone tells me, get a computer, but where's the time to learn a computer? Then the office genius tells me about the Epson, a personal computer you don't have to learn. Only Epson has a keyboard like this. English, not computerese. One button can send mail, store work, draw a graph. Terrific. That's why I'm telling everyone, don't just get a computer, get the Epson. Hey, the office can have more than one genius.
think the NBA basketball players are the greatest athletes in the world.
It's the most exciting sport in America today.
Come down to Currington, to Richardson playing guard all the way under to Bobby Jones. Score!
I like the thrills a minute.
Oh, I love it. It's exciting.
Alley-oop. Whoa!
These are the greatest athletes in the world. These are definitely the best.
Here comes Isaiah. It's just a 2-on-2. Isaiah all the way.
NBA action. Woo! It's fantastic.
What are you doing there?
We are back. It's 93-all. And we'd like to remind you that next Tuesday night, November 29th, at 8:30 on the East Coast side, we'll have another NHL special edition coming your way on USA, when the Stanley Cup champion New York Islanders will take on the St. Louis Blues. National Hockey League action on the network of the NHL USA. Oh, they're giving us those special edition events, aren't they? In that third period, the 76ers shot 60% from the floor, and the Spurs slipped down to about 48%. But the rebounding continued to stay on the side of the Spurs, 14-9. Turnovers, however, 6 turnovers for the Spurs, only 2 for the Sixers, and that turned it around and got them back in it. And now it's a tie ball game with 8:23 to play in the fourth period.
Malone slips back in the ball game, and they're going to try and take advantage of the fact that he is quicker and stronger than McNamara. Immediately they get the ball into him. He scores on his own follow-up.
Well, McNamara should know, Steve, having practiced against Moses Malone enough, that you got to be aware of him all the time. That time he lost contact with him inside. Malone just came in. Banks, too far under off the lob attempt. A 3-on-1. They had it going, and Moore breaks it up nicely.
That's a great save by Johnny Moore. Irving flipping that ball out on the wing to Clint Richardson. If they can complete it, they got the hoop. And quickly, Gervin back in the ball game, Artis Gilmore, so they're going to match some beef with beef inside, and they're going to get Gervin, who had the sensational first period, back in to try to shut down Andrew Toney's firepower.
So 2 of the bench guys for the San Antonio Spurs go to the other side. Their bench is not as strong as it should be, but again, it's inexperienced, and they have 6 new faces over there. Mid-season should be a different story. If it isn't, they may be in trouble. Malone, they sag off and give him the shot, and the rebound by Clement Johnson, 6'10". Blocked by Gilmore. Gervin's got it. Wanted to fly. Irving was there. Give it to Moore as a trailer.
Tough shot by Johnny Moore that time. Gene Banks fouled. It won't go in, and he knocks it out of bounds right off of Johnny Moore. He's standing on the in-line. Excellent call. Moore unhappy, but he should have had the foul off, and it just wouldn't go down. He couldn't control the second one. 76ers have a chance to build on a 2-point lead.
Good offensive rebounding there by San Antonio. Andrew Toney walks it over. Johnny Moore takes him in deep, too deep. No help, and he laid it in. Well, once he penetrates that deeply, he's like a magician. You never know where he's going to pull that ball from. And they've got to get some help over there. And then, of course, there's the fear of him dishing it off, because he can make the inside pass off the penetration. Gene Banks. Down to Roberts. And foul by Malone. Roberts is showing some quickness that a lot of the scouts did not think that he had when he was in college. He lost some weight in Italy and has improved the quickness aspect of his game considerably.
Now they gave that foul to Clem Johnson. He picks up his second foul, second team foul. The Spurs don't have any team fouls. Fred Roberts will go to the line. They need every inside hoop that they can get. We could also expect that they should be coming back to George Gervin, who set out a good 7-8 minutes, starting with the third period, and now coming back with about 7 minutes to go in the ball game.
Now you can bet that he'll be in there the rest of the way now if they can keep it close. 97-95, Philadelphia by 2. They trailed at one time by 13. They trailed all of the first half. Philly passed at 77-76. Richardson inside and knocked down hard as he tried to take it up in the crowd.
Excellent slicing move that we've seen several times from the 76ers tonight. They open up the middle. They let someone come across. This time it's Richardson, and George Gervin was up in the air trying to make the block. Mitchell in, Roberts out.
Well, Mitchell all right, evidently, after being poked in the eye earlier, and Roberts kind of putting the thumb in the dike until Mitchell can come back and give him the that other starter that they had on the bench. And as they knock it away, Gene Banks, as Philly tried to post him up inside, Polk checked it away, and Gervin comes down with it. Mitchell, back to Gervin. He has Artis on top. Takes the give and go. Takes it down the lane. Wow, what a sweet move. Take the give and go over the top and roll right down the lane with a jam. That's a big 2-pointer to tie. 97 all. Crowd in a frenzy right now. Falling down, Tony open, and he hit it. Johnny Moore slipping and falling to enable Andrew Toney for the open shot. You never give him the open shot. He's usually deadly. He has 28 points in the ball game. Malone now with 20, 12 in the second half. Moore.
Tough play by Johnny Moore. Tony tried to draw the foul, couldn't get up. Clem Johnson tried to make the steal. Johnny Moore, enough presence of mind to control, go up, knock it down. Again, a tie ball game at 99.
Moore with 12. On top to Clement Johnson. Malone sets the screen up on the left side. Richardson slides over the screen and away, and then they reverse to the other side to Tony. Saved by Richardson. Sails it out close to midcourt. Good effort by Gene Banks. He's always there, and he is hatcheted.
I'll tell you, it was a great effort by Gene Moore to keep the ball inbound. Then he had enough presence to tightrope down the sideline. Andrew Toney making sure that he's not going to get it up, hammers him as he gets control. Now he dances right there. Now he's coming into the basket area. Toney got him with some body. You thought the hand would have gotten him, but he got him down below, and so Banks has a chance to break the tie. 5:17 to go here in the ball game. Irving's going to come out of the ball game. Bobby Jones back in.
Interesting substitutions here by Billy Cunningham. Most of these coaches pretty well have an idea where they want their people at what times during the game. And of course now Julius, with 5:17 coming out of the ball game, will probably get a couple minutes of breathing action on the bench and then get ready to come back in. Question is, they may slide Bobby Jones over to the other forward and pull Clement Johnson out. But also interesting to note that while Ivoroni starts the game in each of the halves, when it's really on the line, he's not usually there. You see Mo McCone. And when I see Mo, I think of the comment by Bill Fitch, who was comparing coaching with riding a motorcycle. And he said, you do both of them long enough, and they'll kill you.
One way or the other.
199. The Spurs with a 1-point lead. We're down to the 5:07 mark here in the fourth period. I say fourth period because we may have an overtime. Who knows? Moses. Gene Banks. At 6'8" and 2 1/4. He goes up there with both arms flailing away.
Malone has been hammering that 15-footer, but that was about 18 feet away, and they don't get it to make a steal inside. Tony trying to come out of the backcourt.
Does a 360 on Banks. Knocked away as he tries to drive in with a layup by Mike Mitchell. Here's Johnny Moore. Little stop and go. Tough shot, though. And inside is Banks in a crowd. Follow-up tip. No foul. And there are bodies askew all over the hemisphere.
Johnny Moore and Malone looking at each other. Malone staring back at him saying, why? Banks is the guy that should be going to the free throw line. He's on the floor. You'll see Banks go up right here. Bobby Jones tries to come over and make the block. Clem Johnson knocks him away. Foul on Bobby Jones, 14 foul. 4:34 to go.
That orthodontist in the area is going to have a good day tomorrow. Looks like Banks got knocked right on the bridge work. There's Mo McCone.
Last time Banks was here, he got 1 of 2. He still has a chance to extend his team's lead, which is a 1-point lead.
Alan Bristow on the Spurs bench, the assistant coach next to McCone. 199. The Spurs by 1. Gene Banks taking plenty of time now. And unofficially, we have it at 15 for 25 from the line for the Spurs. That's 10 missed free throws that would have helped, while on the other side, Philadelphia is 17 for 19. They've made 17 free throws in a row, and he misses this one. Deflected, kept live, Banks fights, and Moore's got. Look at this. Talk about a whirling dervish. At home, the Spurs are 5-2. On the road, Philadelphia's 2-2. It's never easy on the road. Gilmore, and they interchange inside as they scissor the low box. Ball knocked away. Gervin trying to prevent Bobby Jones from getting to the open ball, and it's out of bounds. But how about the flicking hand of Bobby Jones? And now they'll give it to the Spurs, and they'll roll it back to 5 seconds on the shot clock. It was down to 2. All you get is 5. And now Billy Cunningham is telling the scorers across the way, you don't give them 10. They started at 10 and rolled it down to 5. But it was to 2. 2 seconds. Now it's down to 4, to 3. Mitchell with 1 second. Follow-up. Good! Big two-pointer right there. Gervin making it 103 to 99. Big tip by George Gervin. Andrew Toney out of the corner. And now it's 103 to 101, and we've got a beauty going here at the Hemisphere tonight. Oh, that Thanksgiving turkey's going to look great tomorrow for everybody out here working hard tonight. Mitchell. Malone. Banks. Moore against Cheeks. 4 seconds on the timer. And Banks with a big rebound. And almost sailed it to the fingertips that time of Mo Cheeks, and they'll slow it down and work for a set play.
Well, San Antonio's been down against the shot clock in the last 3 possessions, and they've gotten a fortunate bounce to get the ball back. There are 11 seconds now as they try to set up, and they're not really in good position. 8 seconds on the shot clock.
Swing the ball. Mitchell on Malone. Blocked by Malone. Big block by Malone. Toney 1-on-4, and we're going to have a backcourt foul. Or a foul back here. It used to be a backcourt foul. They used to automatically send you to the line. But for the Spurs now, that would be team foul number 2, I believe. That's correct. Boy, we had an interesting evening tonight with a lot of good performances. Malone with 20 and a big block. Irving with 16. Irving is back in the ball game. We told you he'd get about a 2-minute rest, and that's what it was. It's 103-101. That last foul was charged to Gene Banks. They have 2 fouls, 2 team fouls. Banks with 4. I make that 3. And Andrew Toney again, the man you want with the ball when the game is on the line. We talked about that at the very beginning of the telecast. He has 32 points in the ball game. 20 points in the second half.
Well, he's had a great second half, but he is winning the offensive duel with Gervin. Gervin's sitting out a great deal and has not had many tries here in the second half of play.
Banks, Gervin. They double him up as he comes to the middle. They prevent him from getting the shot he wanted. Malone with a rebound. Irving with a 1-on-4.
Oh, my. The long arms go up. He gets the roll. They're going to call a foul on Gervin. That's going to be a 3-point play. McComb beside himself with 2:07 to go. Watch the long arm of Irving. And when you got arms like that, Eddie, you don't have to do a lot. He just reached in and carried it the rest of the way. Watch the leap and watch the arm. Now the bounce, and he has a chance for 3, which would make this a 3-point lead for the 76ers.
He's got some long arms. You got long arms like that, you almost wish he was a baseball player. You can reach over that fence and haul back some of those home runs, huh?
Yeah, then you got to wonder whether you can judge a fly ball or not.
Well, that's a problem, too. 106 to 103. Although he's a pretty good athlete, he'd probably fool all of us. That'd be a good one. Johnny Moore.
Shot clock.
Against Cheeks down to 5. Backdoor in a crowd. Forcing some tough shots now. Philadelphia's defense is tight when they've had to. Deflected, but Jones picks it up. And Philly now has taken a 5-point lead. And San Antonio will call for timeout. 108 to 103. We'll have a time to reflect for a moment, and we'll tell our local affiliates if they will have an opportunity to say who they are and identify. 108, 103, Philadelphia. Finally, with 150 to play, it's Philadelphia 108, San Antonio 103. Andrew Toney, what a ball game he has had. 20 points here in the second half, and 32 points in the ball game. There he is, Mr. Clutch. Used to be that Jerry West was Mr. Clutch in the NBA. Now it's Andrew Toney. Opposing coaches hate to see him get the ball when the game is riding. He's done a job. Not only that, Steve, I think you just pointed out, we've discussed, that Philadelphia defense is making it impossible for San Antonio to get up the floor in the time they want to, and they're preventing them from getting the high percentage shots.
Philadelphia defense is picked up, and they forced him to work against the shot clock. Gilmore inside, Malone with the strong rebound. So Malone picking up the board work at both ends, tip ends, and allowing them just one shot. Philly with control of the ball game.
1:35 to play in the ball game's fourth period.
Shot clock. 7 seconds on Philly this time.
And Malone forcing and getting the rebound, and the missed shot was Mike Mitchell. They have Johnny Moore at one wing, they've got Gervin at the other. Gilmore, Mitchell, and Banks, that's their starting five. For Philadelphia, you've got Tony and Cheeks the guards. Bobby Jones, who slipped over to that other forward as we had anticipated, with Malone and Irving, and with 1:07 to play in the ballgame's fourth period. Out of bounds it goes, but getting it back with 9 seconds on the shot clock is George Gervin. Has to make everything count here. Mitchell, off a screen, there it is again. Stepping up on the pick, down to 4 seconds, Malone. He's all over the place. Mitchell's got to get a shot away. No, they will not. And Gilmore does not beat the 24-second buzzer. And again, the Philadelphia defense has been just outstanding here when they've had to have it.
Now San Antonio taking too long to get into their offensive set, not moving the ball into personnel to go. 54 seconds in the period here, and Billy Cunningham is saying, hold the ball, Andrew. And of course, he knows he can go anytime he wants to the offensive area and attack the basket.
The Philadelphia 76ers waited a long time to get on top of this game. They came back from 13 down. Bobby Jones, it's under glass. 36 seconds to play in the fourth period, and Philly has taken a 7-point lead. And San Antonio's record could slip to 5-9. So the Spurs, after playing such a brilliant 3 quarters of basketball, actually 2.5, they started to slide in the third period. And they started to hear the sound of the drums and the thundering hoofbeats on the other side of the Philadelphia 76ers, the defending world champions. And for Mo McCone, it's got to be a little disappointing, Steve. And of course, again, we'll reiterate what we said. A lot of youth over there, a lot of new faces, and it's tough to try and blend it all in and pull together as a cohesive unit.
Well, I know Mo McCone feels the pressure because everyone predicted that San Antonio would again repeat as division leader. He wants to do well here early in the season, but at some point he's going to have to let those young players play if he's going to do well in the long haul in the NBA. You've got to find that experience someplace. He's gone basically with the starting team. Those players have been effective when he's gone to the bench. Only Edmondson has really been able to deliver with any consistency tonight at the offensive end. Fred Roberts had a few moments. So they're going to have to find some players or they're going to languish the entire season with inconsistency being the biggest problem.
Inconsistency, that's such an important word in almost any facet of life, and certainly illustrated here by what we have seen so far out of the Spurs this season, and also Philadelphia. Even though they are 9-3 at this juncture, their own coaching staff will tell you one good half, one career half, or one bad half, not an entire game, with the exception of one in the 12 games played to this point. Might mention also that what you're looking at here are two teams that have proven over the recent years that they are indeed some of the best. So what you're seeing is top-level quality talent out there. Over the last 7 years, Philadelphia with the best winning percentage in basketball, 69%. And San Antonio, not that bad either, the 5th best at 59%. So two real good clubs putting on a nice show for you tonight.
Looking for a three-pointer from Johnny Moore. He finally gets in three-point area. Can't get it to fall. Irving with the rebound. Spurs have to foul. Gilmore grabs Irving in the backcourt. 24 seconds to go in the ball game. They got to get the basketball back if they have any chance. And Leo Routens is going to come in the ball game. An excellent passer. Bobby Jones will go out. So Routens, the #1 pick, makes his first appearance tonight.
Well, again, I can't say enough for the defense that Billy Cunningham has inspired his club to play here when they've had to have it. We knew both clubs could run and get some offense, but the defense is what's really turned it around for Philly tonight. Cheek slides off the floor. They've got a new young man in the ball game, and this is their #1. Wow. As Moore going up and trying to take it away from the rookie who just slipped in the ball game. This is Sadale Threet. 6'2½", #6 round pick from West Virginia. And an interesting situation to bring him into the ball game, Steve.
Well, there are only 24 seconds in the ball game. I think he wanted to let him play some here. And Johnny Moore tried to go up and make the steal, came down on his back. The head hit the floor, so he's a little bit shaken up, but he'll go to the line. Cunningham likes his offensive ability, and even more than that, he likes his toughness. A low draft choice, made his way into the NBA.
Cunningham indeed likes this young man's style. Does a little bit of everything well, and all they're going to do is just sit and work with him. 6th round pick. And at that point in the draft, what are they looking for? According to Billy Cunningham, just the best talent available. They felt he was it. One of those fellows you find occasionally laying in the weeds. So he's in there with Franklin Edwards now, along with Leo Routens and Mark Ivoroni. They've given the bench to the regulars, and they have come up with yet another win as Gilmore with a rebound, and we're down to the final 6 seconds of this one. Gilmore puts it, or Banks puts it in, and it's a 111 to 105 score right now. Down to the final four. Andrew Toney still in the ball game for Philadelphia, and he has had a beautiful night indeed. Coming over here, Mitchell looked away from the ball before he had possession, and the final score of the basketball game is Philadelphia 113, San Antonio 105. And I would have to say that the final score is really not indicative of how tough a battle it was for Philadelphia here tonight, because they had to come back after being 13 points down, only to go ahead at late stages of the game, 77-76 with 3:56 to play in the third period, and they end up winning this ball game by a final of 113-105. So a good ball game here in San Antonio tonight. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back with a post-game show and a guest when we return to San Antonio.
At the University of Kentucky, basketball is serious business. If you're serious about basketball, then Basketball Times is a publication that you shouldn't do without. Basketball Times goes beyond the scores and highlights. Its insightful coverage of the college, pro, and high school scene gives you information that you won't get anywhere else. Basketball Times doesn't just rank the teams, but the schedules, the conferences, and recruiting results. And it's in depth. Just right for the serious fan who wants to get the inside information on college recruiting and high school prospects. Compare your ideas with top writers like Dick Vitale, Bob Logan, and Bob Ryan. Basketball Times can give you the advantage in understanding the very latest in college, high school, and pro basketball. 12 issues of Basketball Times are only $14.
Call toll-free 1-800-USA-1000. MasterCard Visa accepted.
For people who take their rock and roll seriously, Night Flight delivers. Everyone who's anyone is talking about it.
Hi, I'm Grace Jones.
Hi, this is Adam Ed.
Hi, this is Steve Miller. When I fly like an eagle, I fly on Night Flight.
Night Flight takes off to explore topics and trends in music culture.
Hi, this is Wendy O from the Plasmatics.
Hi, Love and Oneness. This is Jimmy Cliff.
I'm Robin Gibb of the Bee Gees.
Night Flight offers a commercial-free half hour of the week's hottest films and videos.
Hello. My name is Ian Hunter.
We're here on Night Flight here on the USA Network. Night Flight.
Night Flight. Your connection with cults, classics, concerts, and more.
Good night, Flight.
If you're ready to reach new heights of music experience, you're ready for Night Flight, cable TV's original music show.
So watch it.
It's gonna be great. Every Friday and Saturday night at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on USA.
The USA Network presents the Star of the Game Show, featuring tonight's top performer. Guests appearing on the Star of the Game Show receive a gift from Nunn Bush Shoes. The well-dressed man starts at the bottom. Nunn Bush Shoes. For business or leisure, Nunn Bush has it all.
Well, Andrew Toney, certainly the plan of attack appeared to be to attack George Gervin, a great offensive player in his own right, and you had a sensational game. 8 in the first period, 4 in the second, and then in the second half you really got cooking. You were down at halftime. Did Billy give you really any instructions at halftime as to what to do about George Gervin at the offensive end?
Well, Billy told me to make sure that once I get the ball, to be aggressive on offense and try to initiate a certain type of move or make things happen for the other players if I can't make things happen for myself.
Well, I know that you've always been an aggressive offensive player. Your team somehow has been getting off to very slow starts. You feel that's because you're the defending champions, everybody's pumped up for you, and it makes it a little bit tougher for you to get in the flow of the ball game and control the games like you did a year ago?
I think everyone comes out very up for us anytime we get in town, or either we be at home because we've been a defending champion. But I feel that after winning the championship, we have to just maintain and try to play that championship caliber basketball night in and night out. And that's kind of hard to do. But right now we're struggling a little bit, but we're trying to get on the right foot.
What do you think it's going to take to get you on the right foot?
Well, we're going to have to start on the defensive end. Once we work on the defensive end, that makes our offenses go.
Well, I know that you guys like to play some open court basketball. The tempo of the game was very quick, but again, you keyed it with your defense tonight. And right down here at the stretch, several times against the shot clock, San Antonio was forced to put up some tough tries, and that's the kind of defense that you guys are looking for the entire season.
Yes, that's definitely the type of defense we're looking for. Very aggressive, getting a lot of help side. Defense helping someone if they get beat. Also rotating, switching up, picking up the other man. It's just aggressive overall.
Now, how about your bench? Is it making the kind of contribution that you all feel comfortable with?
Yeah, I think our bench is doing real well. They're coming out. And maybe sometime when the starters not doing well, they like uplift us and get us to going. So I think they're doing real well.
Well, I know that your team expects to repeat as a champion. Your own particular thoughts about it. Can you do it?
I hope we can do it, but it's still early right now. We're going to try to work our way toward that goal.
All right, well, Eddie Doucette had some turkey for you. You went your best. A nice game tonight. Let's go back to Eddie Doucette.
He deserves some turkey with 34 points, 67% from the field on 14 for 21 shooting. He had 4 assists, 3 rebounds, and he played 38 minutes. If he didn't earn that turkey bird and a whole lot of pumpkin pie, I don't know who did. We'll be back with more when we...
In the West, where Levi Strauss & Company began, how clothes feel has always been just as important as how they look. That's why Levi's Action Jeans have both an easy care fabric that gives and a fit that offers a skosh more room. It's a level of comfort that's attracting more men every day. Levi's Action Jeans, a real comfort from Levi's Menswear.
This year, I'm not putting Duracell batteries under the trees.
Oh, no! But they play more tapes.
Give you more flashes.
My mind's made up. But the toys. Duracell keeps them going up to 6 times longer than regular carbon batteries.
They have to go under the tree.
Nope. This year, I'm putting Duracell in the stockings.
Enter Duracell's $100,000 sweepstakes at your local store.
Well, a great performance by Philadelphia and Andrew Toney offsetting the show that George Gervin put on in the first half. And, of course, Gilmore did a nice job. Mike Mitchell did a nice job. But we talked about Philadelphia with Andrew Toney. What's the problem with San Antonio, Steve?
Well, I think, again, you have to talk about the bench and the fact that they're not getting the performance from the bench players that they'd like on a consistent basis, which would allow the starters really to be a little bit fresher. Their execution is not as sharp. Earlier in the first half, we saw them fighting each other, stumbling around inside. That made it difficult to get the spot that they wanted to get. Down the stretch, they did not get the ball, and perhaps the hands of the players that would do the damage early enough. Against the shot clock and the defense of Philadelphia, you got to have the hands inside with the ball inside to Gilmore, perhaps, or in the hands of George Gervin, and they just didn't get it done.
6 new faces. Tough to blend in this early of the season.
Well, I think it's tough, but again, you can't always rely on that as an excuse. You made the choices of those players. Now you've got to believe that they can play and help you, and you've got to take a chance and put them in the ball game at some time. And of course, the pressure from McComb is the fact that this franchise has been so successful. Now, you can't afford to fall off the defending championship, and they've been in the playoffs so many years. You talked about the percentage, 59% winning over the last 6 or 7 years. So they're a tough team. They've won. He wants to continue it. It's on a 1-year contract, so he knows that it's neck is in the news.
And on the other side, for Philadelphia, you got what you might call good trouble when you're struggling and you still come away winning games, even when you don't play the way you want to play. But as Billy Cunningham said, we're winning too many games too close. We're waiting too late before we make our move. And tonight they did it with defense, even though they're known to be a powerful offensive team. Their defense was beautiful to watch here late in the game.
Well, I think they had some great defense, but again, I think it's a combination of things. Teams are so psyched to play against the defending champions, and that gives them an added incentive to come out and really do well at the top of the ball game. Then they come back. Philadelphia seems to say, okay, now you've had your turn. It's our turn to win the ball game, and they generally come back and take care of it, as we saw tonight.
All right, we saw it again. Philadelphia, the defending world's champions, beating the San Antonio Spurs. We'll have more comments when we return right after these words.
For years now, we've been kidding Jim here about his eyesight. The fact is that Jim has the eyes of an eagle. Thanks, Boog. Why, he's one of the first guys to spot light beer from Miller. Saw right away that light tastes great and it's less filling. Sure, all you have to do is read the label. It says light has 1/3 less calories than a regular beer.
I think you want this, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
As I was saying, it's as plain as the nose on your face.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Oh, I don't believe this.
It takes guts to redesign one of the world's most popular cars. Introducing Toyota Corolla, Reborn. This sport liftback was reborn to please you with its balanced handling. Reborn to please your friends with its surprising performance. Reborn to please anyone with its low Toyota price. The 1984 Toyota Corolla Sport Liftback. Reborn to please the world.
Both George Gervin and Mike Mitchell got off to hot starts in this game here tonight, and it looked like they were going to have big nights, but the Philadelphia 76ers threw the handcuffs on them in the second half. Gervin only ends up with 6 second-half points, 2 in the fourth period when you knew he was going to go to the rack, and Mitchell ends up with a total of 22 points after a 16-point first half. He did not score in the fourth period. So Philadelphia got the job done defensively when they had to get it done, and they did it in such an impressive manner that I can't say enough about Philadelphia.
Well, Philly did do it, but again, that also tells you something about the offense of San Antonio. Hey, your trigger man doesn't get the ball. Gervin, one of the leading scorers in the league, and down the stretch you need him, and he didn't get a chance to put the ball in the air, so no fault of his that he's not able to shoot.
And Moses Malone, after a sluggish first half, came alive in the fourth period against a very, very tough Artis Gilmore, who was rebounding very well most of the night. So I think that overall, Philadelphia's got to be happy with the way this turned out, and San Antonio right now trying to lick their wounds and trying to figure out how they can win, and particularly here before a good crowd in San Antonio tonight.
You know about Turkey, you know who got it.
And I know who's going to get it tomorrow, too. I'd like to be in your kitchen, that's for sure. We'd like to remind you about something coming up on USA next week, and that would be another NBA special edition coming your way on Wednesday the 30th when these two, well, not these two, but at least San Antonio will be out east to take on the Boston Celtics, and that'll be a real good ball game. Then the following night, over to New York, where the Washington Bullets will bang heads with the New York Knicks, and that'll be coming on your screens at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Thursday, December 1. Final score of this basketball game, and a good one it was, right down to the final moments here when the Philadelphia 76ers pulled ahead at 105-103. The final score was 113-105 Philadelphia. Tonight's special edition NBA was brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you ever wanted in a beer and less. By Mobile One Synthetic Motor Oil. You can't get better engine protection. By Toyota, reminds you that it's a good feeling to buckle up for safety. By Levi's Action Slacks and Action Jeans. And by Duracell batteries. No regular battery looks like it or lasts like it. Once again, the final score, Philadelphia 113, the Spurs 105. For Steve Jones, this is Eddie Doucette saying good night from San Antonio. And from all of the folks at USA, we want to wish all of you a very, very pleasant Thanksgiving. The executive producer for USA Sports is Jim Zrake. Our producer, Gary Dubin. And our director, James Alexander. Our associate producer is Kevin Landy. And our assistant director, Jerry Copeland. Our production coordinator is Barbara Travers. And of course, Dick Ross is the executive in charge of production. So long from San Antonio. This has been a presentation of the USA Cable Sports Network.